Alright, so the new War Bond and update for Helldivers 2 just came out, and I thought that I would make a video on it, just to, you know, get my thoughts out there. Maybe even hear yours. So, yeah. I guess let's just get started. So, first thing that they added a new Terminid variant, whatever it's called. It's currently not labeled as a strain in game, like something like the Predator or Rupture strain are. But even though they are new, I feel like I've seen these before. Like, I feel like I saw videos about these specific enemies a while back, and they were called... I don't know if they were called, but I think the nickname they were given was the Gloom strain, I think it was, or Gloom variant of the bugs. There's a new Bile Titan. It instead of spewing acid at the player, it'll spew this like red gas at them. It'll ragdoll them and push them away. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, if any at all, in my experience. I'm not sure if that's bugged or if that's intentional. No one really knows. I don't know, at least. There's new forest biomes. Those are pretty. I haven't had too much time to, like... I haven't had too much time to just sit there and enjoy the view because, you know, I'm getting chased by these little creatures that look like they just crawled out of hell or something. And just below the known issues is the long-awaited Exosuit rebalance. These are interesting changes. I don't know if they're enough to save exosuits. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but I'd like to know what you think about these. They increased the main health pool from 850 to 1600. The exosuit will now only die if the main health pool is depleted, instead of specific health zones being depleted. They increased its vulnerability to acid attacks by 50% for some reason. Fixed it so that the cockpit health zones are not blocked by the ragdoll actor, and now the cockpit zones will be damageable in the right way. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I guess it's a good change, or maybe it's not. They increased the exosuit's arm health from 350 to 600, which is nice. You won't be losing your only way of damaging things with it, at a range at least, like instantly from enemies. Exosuit arms now have a 50% explosive damage resistance, just like the main body does, which is amazing. Which means they even have a even more reduced chance of not getting blown off. They removed Constitution and Bleed Out on the exosuit arms. I didn't even know this was a thing. You could bleed out exosuit arms before? Okay. Exosuits no longer lose all mobility when both legs are broken. That's good, but I kinda imagine it like Liberty Prime crawling away when it gets destroyed. The exosuits can now be staggered. It has a stagger strength of 45, and stagger does not affect the ability to shoot. This is probably going to be an inconvenience, but, you know, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And removed health zones of non-vital things like cables and whatnot to improve performance and whatever. These are nice changes. I kind of wish that they removed the 3-use limit, because I still don't know if mechs... Well, I've messed with these new ones. I'm not sure if the mechs still are like required or necessary to have the 3-use limit. I still think it's a little silly that the tank doesn't have it, and I would honestly prefer the tank over most of these exosuits. But, you know, that's all of the changes to the exosuits specifically. Half that is a change that I really disagree with, and that is increasing Terminid durable damage against vehicles. And they say in here, or a section that they say in here is, the Terminids, however, have fallen behind a bit in their ability to deal with vehicles, so we've made some buffs to their damage against durable targets. And I really don't see this as necessary. Like, I could get the Automatons and the Illuminate because they have some form of anti-tank to them. Further down, we have sidearm changes. This is mostly melee stuff, which also extends to the one true flag and the defoliation. But the stun baton, stun lance, saber, combat hatchet, entrenchment tool, one true flag, and a defoliation tool have reduced stamina costs. The stun baton, stun lance, saber, and entrenchment tool have it reduced from 5 to 3%. The hatchet is 5 to 4%, and the defoliation tool is from 10% to 5. Going into the specifics of them, the stun baton has increased damage from 75 to 120, and increased durable damage from 38 to 60. The defoliation tool has a longer and bigger hitbox now when attacking. The armor penetration is twice as fast, and it'll move slower when it does damage to an enemy, which I think, if I'm reading this, or if I'm understanding it correctly, is like, when you attack, the attack will be on the enemy longer, so that it will be able to do more damage. For other weapon changes, the ballistic shield backpack has increased health from 600 to 1,000. The spear has an extra missile and those are always nice to see. I wish they added a top attack mode for the spear. If you don't know, when you shoot, since the spear is based off of the javelin, I believe, the missile will go, and it'll basically point straight upwards and shoot to go super high, and then it'll start coasting to its target, and then once it gets above it, it'll point down, and then blow up, since usually the roof of an enemy, like an enemy vehicle, like the tank, the roofs would have much less armor to them than, like, the turrets or the hull, you know? The flame sentry has become basically a stationary cremator. It has an increased range to 34 meters. Its damage is increased by 50%, and enemies panic faster when they're hit by the sentry, which is awesome. Post-recording here, apparently the flame sentry has a bug right now where it can't damage enemies that stand too close to it. So, you know, keep that in mind. The laser sentry has an increased heat capacity from 200 to 250, which is always nice to see. These things would overheat all the time and blow up and be like borderline useless because they wouldn't be able to hold that much heat. So more is always welcome. Getting to the bottom of the list, we have the enemy changes, starting with the Bile Titan. Spew explosions are smaller to match the visuals better. Decreased explosion inner radius from 2.25 to 1. And decreased explosion outer radius from 3.5 to 2.2. what does this mean? Ooh. Well, I don't know. I don't really know what this means, honestly. I guess it's a good change that it matches the visuals better, but, you know, that's that. The Hive Guard, this one's interesting. It increased the armor on its head and front legs from medium to heavy armor, decreased the armor on its body and claws from light to unarmored, and decreased the health on its body from 500 to 375. This is a fascinating change. I mean, it's nice that there's unarmored sections of the body now, but the front legs and the head being heavy is going to be a pain in the ass to deal with because they always face you. So you're going to mostly just see all of this heavy armor that I think, as far as I know, in the primary section, it would only mean the double-edged sickle and the eruptor would be able to get past it head on. So that's going to be fun to deal with. Then we have bile spewers, stalkers, prowlers, shriekers, scavengers, hunters, all warrior variants, chargers, impalers, dragon roaches, and hive lords having increased durable damage on their attacks. Hey guys, me again here. I kind of glanced over this in the recording, but looking back, oh my god, why would they add so much durable damage to this? And like, also another issue I have with this is that it doesn't tell you what their durable damage is increased by. So, good luck with your vehicles. Good luck if you're on Omicron doing the Gator mission. Whoops, my bad. Tee-hee. The Impaler also has an increased stagger force needed from 45 to 50, which is something. The Automatons, Raiders, Berserkers, and Devastators have increased durable damage. The Heavy Devastator's shield is finally breakable. It has a HP of 800, an armor value of heavy, and a durable value of 0.7. Thank God that these shields can be destroyed now. It was so unbelievably obnoxious to deal with. Rocket Devastators have decreased stagger strengths on their rocket projectiles from 50 to 35. And I think this change is because of the stagger being added to the mechs. And they don't want these to just, like, constantly stagger you until you die. So that's a good change. Hulks have increased durable damage on their flamer attacks for whatever reason. War Striders, the leg hip joints have decreased armor from heavy to medium, which is always nice. Any way to make the War Striders easier to kill is always welcome to me. These things suck to fight. And then below that is the tank holes for all of the Automaton tanks. So the Annihilator, the Shredder, and the Barrage tank. That's increased the health from 3,000 to 4,000. It increased the health of the back vents from 750 to 1,500. The armor on those back vents are increased from a medium to heavy. Removed the track damage zone when the zone is dead. Removed the damage cap to carry through from the tracks to the main health. With a little side note here. So if you overkill it, more damage goes to the main health, which is nice. Reduced the durable resistance on the tracks from 1 to 0.8. That's always good. and reduces the overlap damage zones when it's driving to match visuals better and do less damage. These are interesting changes. I don't typically shoot the holes of the tanks with anything. I usually just shoot the back of the turrets, so I'm not sure how much of this is going to apply, but it's an interesting change nonetheless. And then on to the tank-specific changes. These are only for the Shredder and the Barrager. The Shredder tank has a reduced turn speed for its turret, and the Barrage tank's turret has increased health on the front and back of it from 750 to 1,500, which is, that's going to be a little inconvenient to deal with, but, you know, I'm sure we'll get around it. For the Illuminates, the Flesh mobs have increased durable damage to them. Tesla Towers has lowered the destruction strength needed to destroy them from 30 to 20, and they've added a health pool to it with 200 HP and light armor. So that's always going to be nice, so now you can deal with them without having to waste a grenade or a round from from your Eruptor or any of your support weapons. So that's always great. There's more in terms of general fixes and whatnot at the bottom, but I didn't really find these as interesting as some of the other stuff in here, so I decided to not include them. But that's, other than that, that is the changelog. Let me know what you think. I kind of want to know what you guys think for the max changes, since that was the main focus of this Warbond. Let me know if you think it's enough, if it's not enough, if there should be more things to it, what you would change about these, all that stuff. But other than that, that's basically the end. Have a wonderful day, and good luck helldiving.